Hey folks, Turbine Guy coming back at you with a breaking story from out here in Orono in Minnesota, not Maine. And once again, we've got government corruption at the top of the list. And this is in the Star Tribune, an article that's coming out tomorrow but is online tonight. And I thought I would give you all the Turbine Guy's viewpoint of how accurate not only the story is, but some of the comments. And I think I've deciphered who Dennis Walsh is in the comments. So hang on to the end and we will see. Orono gave sweetheart land deals to city officials, ex-mayors charge. Current city leaders say the transactions were needed to correct inaccurate century-old property maps. Have I got something to say about that when the time comes. Right here we can see Jim White, former mayor. He was on the city council back when I was on the city council. He got elected mayor years ago. So just so y'all know, I have been on the Planning Commission and City Council in Orono previously, way back when Jesse the Body got elected. All right, there it is, Jim Mayor. City of Orono has made sweetheart deals transferring valuable Lake Minnetonka property rights to city officials, according to 3 former Orono mayors. And you can see that in some of my videos. I call it out specifically. The ex-mayors have sent letters to the Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison and Auditor Julia Blaha asking them to investigate transfers they claim are illegal. It is more important than a sweetheart deal, said former Mayor Gabriel Jabor. In my opinion, it's a theft from the public and giving it to their buddies. Couldn't agree more. Dennis Walsh, the city's current mayor, said the property deals were needed to clarify issues stemming from century-old land records that are no longer accurate. We're clearing up things that affect people's title and affect the way they use their property, Walsh said. We're here to solve issues that were put in place 100 years ago for things that don't even exist anymore. Time out. Turbine Guy put in for a minor property line adjustment between this property and the next one when we owned it, specifically because of a century-old plotting deal, and Dennis Walsh couldn't be bothered to allow us a minor property line adjustment, but here he's using that excuse. Sounds a little hokey to me, and it sounds like an excuse to the Turbine Guy. Earlier this year, the City Council voted to vacate a public lakeshore right-of-way to benefit Bob Erickson, a member of the Planning Commission. He was the Planning Commission chair at the time he put his application in. And let's not forget, Bob Erickson was the only donor, Bob Erickson and his wife were the only donors to Dennis Walsh's election campaign the last 2 cycles. This is something that isn't in here. Erickson donates, he gets to buy a fire lane. Wonder what Johnson got. Anyways, let's keep going. This month, the council took similar action on behalf of one of its own elected members, Matt Johnson, vacating 2 right-of-ways and an alley on lakefront property that Johnson owns. Whoa. I'm going to say it again. Vacating 2 city right-of-way, should be ways, and an alley on lakefront. Right-of-ways, alley on lakefront. Oh my goodness, that stuff is priceless out here. And that's how we treated it when I was on the council. You would never, ever consider doing anything like this. Critics say vacating the right-of-way allowed Erickson and Johnson to consolidate multiple properties into larger parcels, potentially making their land more valuable while also reducing public access to the lakeshore. I'm going to rewrite that paragraph for the author. Because it's not critics say. The Turbine Guy says, it's obvious to me that getting free property or being able to buy property to consolidate other properties to make it more valuable is only a good thing for you. Unfortunately, it's a bad thing for the city people. That deal smells, former Mayor Jim White said of Johnson's transaction. I've never seen such brazen disregard for things that are really important to the people who live here. Johnson did not respond to multiple email requests for comment. Really, Brad? Really? You You had the courage to put in an application to take our property, but you don't have the courage to respond and comment back to us when we're not really happy you get it? That sounds awful cowardly to the Turbine Guy. You decide for yourself how you think. State law requires cities to consult the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, the DNR, when vacating any road, alley, or right-of-way on or adjacent to public waters. In both Orono cases, the DNR opposed the transfers, saying they serve no public benefit, but the city isn't required to follow the DNR's recommendation. So what good is a DNR? Mayor Walsh clear-cut his bluff up here in clear violation of DNR rules and Orono ordinances, and they figured out a way to escape from that. And now they're giving stuff. Where's the DNR? And the DNR's analysis was exactly accurate. You don't know how lake levels are going to fluctuate. You do not know what's going to happen 100, 200, 300 years from now. You cannot give stuff away now that can never be recovered. That was the DNR's analysis. And that's something Mayor Walsh and the Orono City Council chose to ignore. In the Erickson deal, the Orono City engineer also opposed the transaction. And the reason he did, and the reason the DNR did, was there was no public benefit. And what's really interesting in all of this is Matt Johnson voted against the Erickson sale, specifically because he saw no public benefit. But for some reason, Matt Johnson finds a public benefit in taking our right-of-way and alleys? How does that work? In their letter to Ellison, Jabor and White, along with former Mayor Barbara Peterson, called the property transfers illegal under state law, the misuse of city resources, and an example of unethical conflict of interest that cannot go unaddressed. Cleaning up past mistakes. Walsh said that the outdated land records have been a hindrance to orderly development in the early part of the 20th century. The city laid out a series of future roads that extended out into what is now open water as the lake level fluctuated. That's the whole key there, Mayor Walsh. The lake level fluctuated. Why do you think the lake level is going to be there now forever? You probably don't even know this, sir, but right out here in front of us, there's buoys out here because in World War II, the lake was so low, the gentleman who lived up there put a retaining wall all the way out to where that buoy is because the lake was so low. You do not know. Is the lake going to go down, go up? It's funny how you can admit that. And while you admit that, you say the exact opposite's a good idea. The same former mayors who are now objecting refused for decades to fix a problem, Walsh said. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to fix. It's platted land that's not being used. So what? There's nothing to fix. We have roads and alleys and plats of land in the middle of the lake from over 100 years ago. We have helped people fix these problems, he said. We have looked at these on a case-by-case basis. So your vision and viewpoint is limited to a short period of time. You don't understand that things fluctuate and change. Oh, so frustrating. Just 4 years ago, the City Planning Commission was concerned about keeping public access to the lake from Johnson's land when its previous owner proposed building a subdivision there. It would be nice, in my mind, to keep access to the lake in that area, John TC, then commission chair, said at 2018 meeting. We basically not yielded on that, another commissioner said. So there you go. Just a few years ago, the idea, and it's not just a few, when I was on 20 years ago, it was all protect the accesses. What's important to the Planning Commission at this point is access to the lake. Then city development official Jeremy Barnhart said, in summing up the discussion for the commissioners. Yes, that is what's important to everybody in Orono, except for, I guess, a few people. Bigger plans in store. Critics of the deal are also concerned that Johnson may have development plans for the property, which totals about 5 acres on Forest Lake, an inlet that connects West Arm and Jennings Bay. Over the years, the city has entertained several proposals for subdivisions, up to 14 homes on Johnson's land and an adjoining 10-acre parcel. At the December 12th council meeting, Johnson said he planned to use the property for himself and perhaps his parents. This is not for development purpose, he said, and a neighbor on Wilder's Trail was skeptical. Well, I would be too. You ain't man or woman or whatever enough to get on the email or on the phone and talk to the Star Tribune about this. How can we trust what you're saying here? This is step one to getting a bigger development built. Brian Tuberville told the council during public comments on the proposal. Johnson, the city council member, paid nothing for the vacation of the right-of-way of his property. He got it for free, everybody. City land for free in Orono. If you're Mayor Walsh's buddy, it certainly appears. Erickson, the planning commission member, made a $100,000 donation to the city's park fund when his right-of-way was vacated, except that Erickson himself said in a letter to the city that he was paying for the sale of that property. So one has to pay, one doesn't. And I'll tell you at the end what the difference is. You know what? I've really got a good analysis coming up at the end of this. You don't want to miss it. Walsh said the transactions involving city officials aren't illegal because state law merely prohibits selling city-owned land to officials. No sale, no foul, he said. Walsh said the transactions involving city officials aren't illegal because state law merely really? So because they aren't illegal, it's not wrong. No sale, no foul, he said. But it was a sale, and one of them was the Orono resolution for the Bob Erickson sale specifically said in it, and it's signed off, I've read it, that the land doesn't transfer until the $100,000 payment is made to the city. $100,000 for land, that's called a sale in anybody's book, I guess, except Mr. Walsh's. And I guess the Orono attorney, Mr. Soren Maddock. The former mayors believe the transfer of the property rights to the city officials falls under the same umbrella and are hoping Ellison sees it that way. We have followed a common sense rule, Walsh said. It has nothing to do with whether it's Matt Johnson or anybody else. He's a citizen and he has rights. Jabor said the current council's actions go against a long-standing policy that the city should never, I'm going to change this for Mr. Jabor, should never, ever give up its lakeshore property and public access to Lake Minnetonka. What we're trying to do is say, look, there's a skunk in the house. And it stinks. You get in the show comments. I just want to let you know that it certainly appeared to me, of course, I'm the Turbine Guy, so you can see me there. But this MN Girl 18, MNGRRL 18 _18 is Orono Mayor Walsh posting. I've read through these comments and it just certainly appears to me, so be aware of that as you're reading through and enjoying all these comments telling Orono how wrong they are. So I got to tell you, the Turbine Guy is just astounded what's going on in the city of Orono. And these people are giving and selling each other our property. Where are the people? It goes beyond just giving each other property. These people are picking and choosing who they want to win and why, and making up excuses as it goes. Now, you can read a previous article. This is who the mayor is. Right here. He's the guy who reads newspapers while people come and comment in public. He's the guy who shortened public comments. He's the guy who put public comments way at the end of the public comments or of the city council meetings to dissuade public input. He ran on transparency, and this is what he's doing. The Turbine Guy feels like I actually taught the city of Orono something. They're not stupid up there. That's for sure. They obviously know what they're doing because they've been walking down this corruption path for quite a while. And they've gotten away with it, so they're fairly good at it. Got to blame the lawyers more than anything, and the judges. But getting back to this case, first time around, they had a sale to a sitting planning commissioner, which was illegal, and they tried to couch it as a unsolicited donation, as if they can use words to change reality. That didn't happen. What happened was it was a sale, and I pointed that out. I had videos. Well, now they're not doing a sale. And, you know, Matt Johnson's actually unlucky that he got elected. Because if he had not been elected this past time around, he wouldn't be a city official. None of this would have happened, which is just exactly, expressly why the Turbine Guy did not put this video out beforehand. I did not want Matt Johnson to lose. I wanted Matt Johnson to come in second, which is what happened. Thank you, Elisa. Great job. They learned from the first to the second. Oh, we're being illegal. Let's make this legal. Well, they screwed that up by Matt Johnson getting elected, because now they're giving stuff to city officials. And come on, people, really? We're going to harsh in state law that giving is okay, but selling is not? That the people of Orono should have to sacrifice income to the city, the value of their property, the value of their right-of-way, the value of their alleys, simply because the guy's on the city council? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm going to tell you, this article, as a Turbine Guy looks through it, is 95, 98, 100% accurate. But I see a lot of word games, is what I see. I see a lot of mixing things up to try to hide the truth. Truth is, Bob Erickson bought a fire lane from the city of Orono for $100,000 against long-standing policy. It's not me who says that. It's 3 former mayors. I bet Lily McMillan would agree to. 4 former mayors of Orono would agree to that. They would also agree that giving right-of-ways that just recently the Planning Commission said this is nothing we would ever do to a sitting city councilman is out the door. That's who we have in Orono. That's our leadership, and that's where we're headed. When is the next election? Turbine Guy, signing off.